The reason you're not getting what you want out of your life is because your fear of rejection, your fear of looking stupid is bigger than your dreams, your goal, and your aspirations. So in this video, I want to talk about fear because fear is the biggest obstacle which is stopping you from achieving more in life. So let's get into that. Now, why fear is the problem in the first place? Because to understand the solution, we need to understand the problem first. So if I'll say, what is your biggest problem in life? Majority of the people is gonna say, I don't have enough money. So money is the biggest obstacle. And now let's say I tell you, go and make money. So what you're gonna do? Firstly, we need to understand the fundamentals of money. You cannot make money. You can take money from others. In order to take money from people, you need to talk to them, which means you need to create your offer and you need to pitch them your offer, which means many more times you will face rejection. And the reason you're not taking action in the first place is because you're fearing that rejection. So everything here, which is like the biggest problem in your life, is money. And the reason you're not making money is because you're feeling the fear of rejection. That is why fear is the most important problem which we need to conquer. Now, if we define fear, so we can put fear in two categories. There is physical fear and there is psychological fear. And this fear of rejection is in the category, of course, of psychological fear, because physical fear is not even a problem in the first place. You see a lion and the lion is coming at you, you're feeling the fear, that is important. It's a biological instinct. So physical fear is not even a problem in the first place. Psychological fear is the biggest issue. So let me give you some more example. Let's say you go and apply for a job. Now you apply 10 places and 9 reject you, 1 give you interview. Now you're just giving that interview and you got a rejection. Okay. Then you applied 10 more places. 1 got you again and then you got rejected again. This happens with people. I've known people, like, this is the thing with job interviews. Let's say you're recording a video like this, but you're feeling the fear of people judging you, your family members judging you, which means fear applies everywhere, literally everywhere. So this is why we need to conquer this fear, because this is the biggest problem. Like, if you're doing anything in life, fear is going to stop you. So let's get into the solution of fear. So if we'll talk about the nature of fear, it's basically, fear is something which is a mile wide but an inch deep. Wait, I'll explain it to you. Let's say you see an ocean, okay? It's this widespread ocean. So you also think that it's going to be very deep. In reality, the ocean is. But fear is exactly like that ocean. When you see it, it's this massive wide ocean, water. And you have this perception that it's going to be very deep. But the interesting part here is, as soon as you take the first step, you realize, okay, this is not deep, and like, this is not even deep. You take second step, third step, fourth step, and now you're in the middle of the ocean. And you're not drowning because it is shallow water. Fear is exactly like that. But the point is, how do we take that very first step? That is the biggest issue, right? We all know this, like, we should take the first step and like we should do this. But the problem is in taking that first step. So I'm going to make it very simple for you on how you can take the very first step. So let's get into that. Now for this, I want you to sit in a quiet place, whatever you can do. And I want you to think critically, which means you see what's going to happen in every single step what I'm going to take. Let me give you an example. So let's take an example of going on a stage and like public speaking. Now the fear here is, I'm going to go on the stage and what if I got stuck in between? What if I forget my script? What if I fucked up in the stage, right? That is the fear. And this just idea of going on a stage is like, we feel a lot of fear in that. So how do we remove that? Especially when there are 20,000 people in front of us. What we are going to do? So the solution to it, you can apply it anywhere. I'm just giving an example of stage. So you need to sit quietly with yourself and you need to ask every intricate question to yourself. Let me explain it to you. Let's say you ask yourself very first question. Okay, I'm gonna go on the stage. So what's gonna happen exactly? Okay, I'm gonna go on the stage and I'm gonna forget my script. Okay, what's gonna happen if when I forget my script? People are gonna stare at me. Okay, that's not even a problem. What's gonna happen next? Okay, people are gonna shout at me. Okay, but I'm still gonna be alive, right? Yeah. Okay, then what happens next? Like I got stuck in between, like it's very awkward situation, and like the worst case scenario is people started shouting at me, people started throwing things at me. Okay, then I can just run from there. Cool. Then what's gonna happen next when I run from there? Okay, I'm gonna feel this anxiety within myself. I'm gonna cry in the corner. Okay, let's say you're crying in the corner. What's the problem with that? You're still alive. Yeah, there is no problem in crying, but I'm gonna cry for 5 days, 6 days, 10 days because that experience was very bad. Okay, let's say you cry for 10 days. What happens next? Okay, like then people are gonna come to my house, like how do you forget your script? And they're gonna throw things in my house is gonna burn. I'm talking about the worst case scenario, right? Okay, let's say my house got burned. What's gonna happen next? Okay, then I can sleep at my friend's couch in the worst case scenario, and after a month, I can just be back at where I was. Cool, but you're still alive, and nothing changes. So, like the point is, when we operationalize things and about the worst case scenarios, like I'm gonna do this. What's the worst case? This. Okay. What's next? This. Worst case. Next. 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 When you define every intricate step that's gonna happen, and you just see the long-term picture, then you feel like, okay, this is the worst case scenario. This is the worst case scenario. Am I ready for it? Yes, I'm ready for it. Cool. Let's go for it then. Right? And in order to remove the fear, we need to see best case scenarios and the worst case scenarios. But the most important part is to handle the worst case. You need to see every step until you get to the very worst case. You need to define that worst scenario, how it looks like. And you need to ask yourself question, am I comfortable in this? If the best case scenario is an option, the best case scenario is you become a superstar next day after going on stage, like your video get viral and you become a superstar. Am I going to trade this worst case scenario for that possibility? If the answer is yes, and in 99% of the cases the answer is going to be yes, right, then you just go for it. That's how you remove fear. Like fear exists in the wake, not in the specific. So as soon as you specify it, what the fear actually is and what's the worst case scenario, if you're comfortable with the worst case scenario, just go for it. That's how it works.